Hey guys, so I'm driving back from the gym right now. I did not do anything but read and sit today because I had two different doctor's appointments. One of them ended up taking 5 hours or so. Then the other one was like 2 or 3 hours. I actually ended up going to the wrong place. And so they rescheduled for like 20 minutes later. And so I had to drive to the other place. Sat there for like 30 or 45 minutes. But I'd say 7 or 8 hours of my day was spent sitting waiting in the doctor's office, in which that time I read like 150 pages in the book I'm reading. I'm reading the memoir Phil Knight wrote. It's called Shoe Dog. So it's about the founder of Nike and how it got started. I talked about it a bit yesterday, but very, 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 very good book, and I would recommend it to you. It talks a lot about like the realities of starting a business, and I talked yesterday about how essentially the one thing that seems to differentiate all the super big business owners is that they just kind of started without thinking and then figured the rest out. They kind of forced their own hands into a situation where they had no option except to get the work done by basically telling somebody that they could do some magical thing, and then they actually had no idea what they were doing, and then they actually somehow ended up pulling it off. So it's like in that book, for example, Phil Knight, which is the guy who founded Nike, flew to Japan and asked if he could be an import, like they could import Japanese shoes into America and he could be their main seller and distributor of them. And he didn't have a business, he didn't have anything, but he told them he had a business called Blue Ribbon and that he like was like did track and all that, and essentially just didn't talk. So he didn't give them any information about the fact that he had no idea what he was doing. And so he basically just said, I want to be a distributor, and acted like he knew what he was talking about and had the confidence that he did, even though he had no idea what he was doing. And they actually ended up giving him access to distribute Japanese shoes in America. And so then they would ship overseas to him, and then he would sell them in America, and that's how it got started. It's like he literally flew to Japan and was like, I want to be your distributor in America. And they were like, oh, okay. And so they assume that somebody who's coming to them and knows somewhat about what they're talking about actually is established. He literally had no idea what he was doing. So it's kind of just the idea that like getting in over your head, and they're like thenceforth he was forced to like make it work. Otherwise they would have found out that he lied about it, or that like he had no idea what he was doing. Is like he kind of had to make it work. He had no option because they were sending him like hundreds of shoes, and they would like ask, why aren't you selling them, like this, that. So he had to do it. So he kind of forced his own hand, and that's what I found like a lot of people do. Is it kind of defeats the whole you need discipline thing, because humans are naturally scared of like social humiliation. And so you don't have to have discipline when there's 100 people relying on you, because you kind of like are so concerned about potentially being socially humiliated that you have like obscene amounts of adrenaline and get the job done without needing discipline or motivation. And I feel like that's kind of how a lot of people operate, and it might be a pretty good idea. So if there's anything you want to do, like maybe kind of force your own hand, do something that kind of requires you to get it done, and the expense being potential social pressure, humiliation. You'll get it done for sure. When there's people relying on you, we're a lot more inclined to do something and not procrastinate. But otherwise, just kind of zoomed through the book today. Another thing that I learned was like social media has, and I know I'm not helping this because I'm actively posting on social media, but I'm trying to like fight against it, not fight for it. It's very much brainwashed people into believing that other people's opinions are the correct opinions, but the reality is it's called opinion for a reason. And I find it extremely fascinating because I myself fell into this hole for a while, that it's like so binary, like this is what's right, this is what's wrong, this is what works, this is what doesn't. But the reality is you can probably make anything work if you actually work hard at it. And so social media has bred this generation of people that all think that they're the main character and that there's this one specific way to get rich online, but they have absolutely no understanding of anything else, and they think that it's going to be easy, and it's like a misconception. It's just so unbelievably interesting to me, because like that's just not how it works. And I think that it excites me just as much as it interests me, because it makes me feel like I'm in an advantage, because most people don't even know that. and at least maybe I've fallen victim to it, but at least I'm aware of it. And so now I can look at it, and it's like, once you're looking from an outsider's point of view, it's crazy how much YouTube's brainwashed people. Like, they will like die on their hill. Like, they will claim something and defend it with their life, and they haven't even experienced it, nor do they have any reason to believe it. They just heard somebody that they believe in say it, and it's crazy how well it works. And I think I don't know, it's mind-blowing how somebody can say social media marketing is the best business to start, or AI is going to replace jobs, and suddenly everybody's like on their horse, like crazy, like to the death defending this idea, but they've never actually experienced it, and it's crazy to me. I don't mean to like throw shade, but in one of the videos I posted the other day, somebody commented and said that I'm wasting my time going into debt in college, and AI is going to replace my job anyway. And like, I know there's like kind of that rule that don't read the comments, but I do. And the reason I do is because if it's a negative comment, I'd actually prefer that, because it helps me to understand the world better. And a lot of the time the negative comments are just other people projecting their insecurities onto you. But the crazy cool part of it is every time somebody does that, you now have a new understanding of what not to do. And it checks your own like psychology and your understanding of things, because if they're being critical of you and they're wrong, then you know why they're like that, and it helps you to understand other people better. And I just thought it was interesting because, one, like, I'm not going to debt, so they instantly assume because I'm in college I'm in debt, which comes from all the videos saying how college is a terrible idea. But people assume that they know so much more than they do, and it's like, this person commented, it's like, you're going to debt, college is useless, and AI is going to replace your job. It's like, well, no, I'm not going to debt, and college is useless is a very like subjective term, and I'm not for college if you're going to go into debt, because I don't think the opportunity is great. But who am I to say that? Because I myself haven't made it through college and looked at the opportunities for that. And so how can somebody who has never been to college and never lost their job to AI and never gone into debt for college know that is a thing? Like, the only way that that's possible is if they're assuming it and have just convinced themselves that's true, or if they heard it from somebody else and instantly adopted that as their own belief. And so one of my big things for a while was on this like craze, like most people are, about like, oh, maybe I should drop out of college because AI and this and that, same as these other people. And then I thought about it, and I realized that if I drop out of college and then I go on the internet and I preach this idea that college is useless and you should drop out and it's not going to work anymore, I would be a hypocrite, because I never finished college, and so therefore I would not be in a position where I have experienced the college is useless and AI is going to replace your job. I've never experienced it, and so I'm basically just lying to these people, because I'm preaching them something that I myself have never actually experienced or practiced ever. And so I decided that regardless of any other reason, if I genuinely want to help people learn more, and at any point in time I want to diss the modern education system, then I should finish college so that I at least have the ability to tell people whether it is worth it or not, because I've actually done it. Versus most of the people on the internet, probably like 70 or 80%, actually I don't even know, I made that up, but a lot of people on the internet are going to tell you that college is a waste, but they themselves had never actually gone to college. And they themselves have never actually experienced what they're preaching you. And that's literally the definition of hypocrisy. And it's dangerous, because a lot of people will be convinced by that because they're wealthy. But the reality of the situation is what a lot of people say. And this is coming from somebody who, like, a couple months ago was, like, fully ready to drop out of college. Like, I was like, this is stupid, this is terrible. And then I actually thought about it critically, like a human being. And I decided that the only type of people, I don't say only, speaking in absolutes, but a majority of the people who do drop out of college were already going to be successful if they did go to college. And dropping out of college assumes that you are going to study on your own dime, in your free time, studying books, reading books, watching, learning from people, etc. And most of the people who dropped out of college and ended up successful either read like 3 books a week or read an obscene amount of books and still study the same material that would have learned if they went to college. The difference is they didn't pay tuition. But a majority of people, and I can confidently say that because I am included in this, the majority of people think oh, well, I'm going to drop out of college because it's useless, and it's easier because I can just study the books anyway. Like, I don't need to go pay for classes if I can just study the books. They drop out of college and they don't study the books because they have nothing on the line. If you're paying for college, you're going to study and you're going to take it seriously because you paid for it. And if you don't go to college with the idea that, hey, I'm going to drop out and I'm just going to study these books because it's a cheat code, like, oh, I don't need to pay for the education system, they're not going to teach me everything you know, which is true, right? You could probably learn in 1 year the amount that you would learn from a 4-year degree if you studied the books and actually put work into it. But most people aren't. They're going to use it as an excuse, they're going to drop out, and they're going to get lazy. And the whole reason they dropped out in the first place wasn't because they truly believed it was easier, or that it was a better idea. It's because they believed that dropping out was the easier option, which instantly shows laziness. And through that laziness, they are now going to be those people who don't study the books, don't put the work in, and then don't go anywhere. And so the people who are already the type of people to study these books anyway and actually take it seriously, those are the ones, yes, okay, drop out of college, sure. But most people aren't that. I'm not that person. If I dropped out of college right now and I'm simply going on the idea of, well, I could just look at the schedule of courses at my college, figure out what textbooks they're using, and buy them myself and study them, and it'll be 1/10 of the price, and I could do it 3 times faster. It's like, on paper, yes, absolutely. I could go get every single finance-related, business-related textbook from my college, and I could buy all the textbook off like Facebook Marketplace or eBay or something for a discounted price, and then studying them on my own and finish the whole degree equivalent worth of education 3 times faster. But that assumes I actually do all of that work. Why would I do all of that work if I have nothing on the line when I could just be lazy instead? But going to college, you have something on the line, whether it be disappointing your parents, whether it be going into debt, whether it be tuition, experiences, whatever. Going to college simply puts something on the line for you to take the education more seriously. And while I don't fully like the stuff that they teach you these days, and I don't think it's fully useful, it does make you take your education pretty seriously most of the time. I mean, like, if you're not paying for it, then like people just screw off or not take it seriously, or it just doesn't feel like it's for them and they'll drop out. But those are not the people I'm talking to. I'm talking to people like me who it's like, I don't like doing bad in classes, and maybe I don't agree with the education system, but I'm still going to actually put an effort since I'm putting my money there. And, well, I'm not really putting my money there. I have a scholarship, but like still, like, I'm kind of putting my money there because I moved there and I put my life on the line to go there. And it's like, that's just how it works. But that's just a thought for the day. It's just the idea that, like, if you don't think for yourself, somebody else is going to think for you. And when you let other people think for you, that already shows the type of person you are, and you can't even hold your own beliefs. And so what you're going to do is you're going to grasp onto other people's till the death, and you're going to defend other people's beliefs your whole life. And the question you got to ask yourself really is, do you want to be somebody who defends other people's beliefs for the rest of your life, or do you want to make your own, even if they're worse, even if you can't defend them as well, but at least they're your own? So that's what I've been thinking about today, and I am definitely tired of taking other people's beliefs, and I'm kind of sick of social media. And it's great because I can make these videos and I don't actually have to go on social media. I can just upload them and be done. And yet I'm making a social media business. Crazy stuff. I don't know why I'm doing this, but maybe to make a difference, maybe to like actually change it, because I feel like it's a lost cause and I think I can do something to help that. But I guess we'll find out. Good night, guys.